of the game here is to use this randomlettergenerator.com to generate a random letter. And once I come up with that letter, I have to immediately think of the first noun that begins with that letter that comes to my mind. And the goal then is to step into Adobe Illustrator and try to illustrate that letter also in such a way that represents an idea of that noun. Now, in logo design, this is it's referred to as a letter mark. So let's go ahead and see how good I can do. S, shoe. Okay, so that was the honest answer, shoe. Let's try this. All right, so let me extend this window a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna go to File, New, and we'll call this S, shoe. And the width and height, I'm just going to choose 860 by 600. That happens to fit well at 100% within my current viewport resolution. And so I'm just going to hit Control 1 to get to 100%. All right, so the first step is to get the type tool. I'm just going to get a capital S and a lowercase s. I'm just going to space it out a few times and scale it up. All right, so here we go. What I usually do is just up here in the font selection, I'll just click up here, left click once, and then use my down arrow on my keyboard to go through some of the fonts that I have, and just to see if anything that relates to the idea of a shoe will come to mind based on these letter forms here. So, you know, the initial idea that I've come up with in my head just randomly are shoestrings. So that will possibly work based on what I have going here. So let me just keep on sifting through these. And so the goal is, of course, you know, to emulate this or convey the idea of a shoe, but also adhering to good logo design and good graphic design fundamentals. Okay, so I'm going to keep going through these. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to pause it until I get to a font that I think I like. So 1 second. All right, so I'm going to use this font called Cartica. And let me just get rid of the other one and stick with the capital version, and I want to make some adjustments just right off the bat. So the idea I'm going to try to work with here is by using by creating at the ends of the letter here, right here and here, are going to be that sort of hard plastic piece that's smaller than the actual shoelace or shoestring, and then also work with an idea of intertwining the shoelaces right here in the middle. So we'll see if this can work well. I did not do this beforehand, so let's see if I can get it done. All right, otherwise I'm going to delete this damn video because it'll be embarrassing, and I'm just talking to myself now, and I will have wasted all this time. Okay, so actually I want to make sure I have straight lines here. Just hold Shift, left clicking, and right there, Alt left click, Shift right there. Okay. I also want to, and I may adjust the size of that, but just real quickly, I also may want to round out these edges right here, kind of like this, and there. Oops. All right. Okay, so let's move this up a little bit. Yeah. Maybe right around there is fine. Now again, I may adjust this, but for now I'm just going to leave it as is. So Control C, Control F, hold Shift and rotate this by left clicking and holding. And we'll place this one right here. Okay, so not too evident for the time being. So I want to work with this center portion right here. So real quickly, I'm just going to save a copy. Control C, Control F. And I'm going to zoom up on this one, and I'm going to take this type layer here and hit Control Shift and the letter O to convert to outlines. All right, so my idea, let's see if I can get this to work. So I'm going to get white. Sorry, my wife barged in. So I'm going to get a white for the foreground color here. And I just want to come along this edge here and just kind of create a white sort of negative space in between these two. And you'll see where this is leading once I'm able to get this designed in a sense. You want this to go in the middle. And left click right here. Yeah, something like that roughly. Come out over here. And real quickly I'm going to use my direct selection tool. I'm selecting this one to move it up just a bit. Click back over here. Ooh, I had 2 points here. Yeah, right there. All right, and trying to think of how I want to do this. Actually, I'm going to move that back down. What is that? I'm going to delete this one too. All right, so I'm going to click back on this, left click and Alt, and let's see here. And left click and Alt and drag that portion right there. Alright, so it's a little bit off, it's a little bit uneven, but I really just want to see what this looks like just for now. Okay, so still some work to do to get this to look right. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to use the add anchor point tool and add a point here and drag it out roughly right around there, and then do the same thing for this down here. Just add one right around here, and then use the direct selection tool and drag it out around here and pull this in. All right. And I kind of want to make it, you know what a shoestring's like, obviously. You know how it kind of, it's very thin on one side, and thick on the other. So I'm going to add another one here, and I'm going to start right around here, and maybe come in just hold Shift, and then come back down right around here. All right, end that right around there. You know, I could possibly go a little bit higher. All right. This needs to be a little bit smoother on this edge, or this needs brought out just a tad bit. And this needs worked with a little bit. All right, for now that's good. And I want to do the same thing here with the bottom. So I'm just going to duplicate that, Control C, Control F, reflect and horizontal. All right, so we're dealing with a different, it's not exactly the same here at the bottom. So will that work at all? No, I'll just go ahead and do another one real quick. And we want to get around the same space, the same thickness from the top. All right. All right, let's see here. Now, I'm thinking I want to work with this center area, because if it's thin here and here, then it's going to be thin in here as well. So I want to shrink the size when it comes in. So let's work with that real quick. Maybe start up around here and come in like that. Alt and left click to adjust that direction a little bit. Now we got all these white layers, and we'll adjust that. Oops, did I connect that with the wrong one? Oh. No, I didn't. All right, that's good. All right, and then I want to do the same thing for this side right there. So I will come in right around here. Actually, let's kind of start right down here. And no, we want this to end kind of like a smooth, or to come to a point. Like right there. All right. All right, so it needs a little bit of work with the edges, like right here and right here. But I think I like that as is, just as a black and white version, although I want to work with these just a tad bit. So I'm gonna make them skinnier, drop down the size just a little bit, and then duplicate that, bring the sucker up. All right, so when you're in a situation where you have all these white layers that is essentially significantly altering another layer beneath it, what we can do is select all the white layers. So because there's so many white layers and so few black layers, we can just select everything, shift to deselect those few black layers, and then we can hit bring out the Pathfinder by going Window, Pathfinder, and unite them or merge them right here. And then with them selected, hold Shift and select the black layers. And I think it's just this layer that these only intersect. So then you click on minus front there. So now it's transparent in those areas that it needs to be. All right, so let's go ahead and increase this, see how that works on a large size. Copy that, see how it works on a small size as well. Not too bad. I may want to work with possibly creating more separation right here. You can still see it on this the smaller scaled down version, but it's still a little bit too close for my liking. But nonetheless, I think that's pretty decent as is. So let me go ahead and delete this one, and we can take everything, and if I right click it and ungroup, I can select just the bottom one, and I can move it up a little bit actually to create more separation to fix that issue, so that smaller size it does work a little bit better. All right, and just for the fun of it, let's go ahead and create a colored version of this. So let's see here. Shoestrings are usually white. I'm going to make it like a experiment with maybe a gray color and a black background. So let me go ahead and I'm going to take this and group those again and then hide it. And then I'm going to get a black background layer here, right around there. Drag that to the bottom and lock it. And then take everything here and make it white. All right, so now what I want to do is we'll go ahead and just select these three layers right here, and let's go ahead and get the Pathfinder up real quick, just so I can unite these shapes into one shape. Same thing with these three layers. All right, so now we're just working with two layers essentially, and let's go ahead and add a gradient on this. So linear. And let me think about how I want this to work. Could we reverse that real quick? Yeah, I'm going to do something different real quick. What I'm going to do is just take the pen tool, come up right around here, and object path, divide objects below. So now that cuts in half this layer. So that now, I'll make sure this is just white. And now it only applies that gradient to this portion because it was also applying it to this over here, and I don't want that. So now I could just hit G for the gradient tool and experiment with that. And then I could do the same thing with this one down here as well. So let's cut this off right around there with the pen tool. Control Shift D to divide objects below, and then just select, 1 second. Let me save this real quick. Sometimes it's the issue that happens when I start working with divide objects below, and they'll like randomly select something out here that does not exist. I can't even delete it. So 1 second. All right, so now the way I did it to fix that is just to save it, close it, and then reopen it. All right, so now we have just this portion. I can eyedrop just that over there, hit G. Oh, wait, wrong one. I want this one. There we go. All right, hit G. You obviously don't want it to affect this down here. And it looks kind of interesting. Let's see what this looks like scaled down. Let's do another one. When it comes to shading and adding shadows and stuff, you have the option of gradients, or you have the option of you making it a little bit more simplistic, although sometimes the results look a little bit better. So I'm going to make everything white here for this one, and zoom up here. All right, so let me think about how I want this to work. I'll start right around here. Someone's calling me. All right, and then come up right down here. Actually, let me bring that in right there. Oh my God, be quiet. All right, so anyhow, go ahead and hit object path, divide objects below. Kind of like that. I don't like that starting point. Sorry, I'm messing this all up. Although this is usually the case when you're trying to do a tutorial on something you haven't yet covered. So, this is the raw, unedited version. All right, so come around there. Divide objects below. Yeah, I kind of like this better than this. And then you can finish it up by bringing these over to the outside of this. I'll start right around here. And then do the same thing on the outside of this line. Pretty cool. Stands out pretty well. Of course, you can always experiment with this shade right here pretty easily just by doing this. Control H, get rid of those points, and then experiment with, I think this right around here works pretty well. And so that is it. Pretty cool. I think it emulates the idea of a shoe, or some idea of a shoe, obviously, being the shoestrings. And it seems to work pretty well at most sizes. Cool stuff. All right, hope you enjoyed watching, and check out for sure designcourse.com if you haven't yet, as well as Design Course Premium, where I personally instruct you as a mentor on how to become an awesome designer. So definitely check out designcourse.com/premium and subscribe here on YouTube. All right, I'll see you next time.